When they get away with rigging a U.S. presidential election along with many congressional elections in plain sight, it's over. Start thinking, bang! Because voting again won't work. Okay, for those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock the past few days, you may not have heard this, but I imagine most of you probably have, that the FBI raided Donald Trump's house at Mar-a-Lago. It was pretty sick. It was awesome. I did a debate about it last night that I will be uploading to YouTube at some point, so look for that. Anyway, the thing is, people aren't very happy about that. Like, they're not all like me, right? They're not all based and left-pilled like I am, right? So some people are very upset, particularly conservatives. You've been seeing people such as Steven Crowder say things, interesting things. Let me look that up real quick. Okay, we can just go through these. So here's one. When progressive leftists say civility, what they mean is shut up and take it. They only care about civility when it's their people in power. I agree with that, honestly. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, shut up and take it. We are going to force good policies down your throat, and you are going to deal with it because you've given us no other option. I'm looking for a specific one, though. One of those days that you're going to be telling your children and grandchildren about. Here, let's just watch this.
Anyone who claims to put on our team jersey and doesn't actively advocate for the dismantling, dismembering, complete restructuring, if at all, of all of our intelligence agencies, there is a special place in hell for people like you. It's one thing to wear the jersey of evil. It's another to try and link arms with us and then turn on us. How's that for a purity test? I'm pissed. I
actually agree. We should dismantle some of those. I agree with that. One of the darkest days in history in regards to your personal freedoms. The FBI raided former President Donald Trump, and they're coming after you next. We give you the latest on the raid and recap all the ways the left has weaponized the federal government against you. So basically, he's turning this. He's pushing the team sports narrative even more. He even said the jerseys, right? He invoked that language, the jerseys. So it's an us versus them mentality. It's been that way for a while. Yeah, tomorrow is war, like literally. Also, where was the war? I don't see it, but there you go. So he's not alone. Other people have also been stirring this up. Trump is one, obviously. I know that Matt Walsh had some choice words. I haven't really looked at a whole lot of other people. I know that some Fox News pundits were saying some shit. So interesting stuff. One thing that I did not expect was in my hometown, Cincinnati, Ohio, the great state of Ohio, where famously 10-year-olds cannot get abortions. Apparently, and I have not read about this yet, armed man who was at the Capitol on January 6th, interesting, and he was fatally shot after firing into an FBI field office in Cincinnati. Now, why would they mention that he was at the Capitol on January 6th? That seems unrelated, right? I mean, if you're stupid, maybe it does, but to me, it makes perfect sense. The hogs have been riling up their base since forever. Like, they've been doing this for a long time, but especially in the past couple of years, a lot. Like, I feel like ever since COVID hit, that really flipped a page, right? Straight up. So let's read about it a little bit. The man who fired a nail gun into an FBI Cincinnati building Thursday before he was killed by officers. Wait, that's not a full sentence. The man who fired a nail gun into an FBI Cincinnati building Thursday before he was killed by officers was at the Capitol. Okay, that is a full sentence. Two officials familiar with the matter identified the suspect as Ricky Walter Schiffer. I have never heard of this person, thankfully. Officers fatally shot the suspect after failing to negotiate with him. Office State Police spokesman Lieutenant Nathan Dennis told reporters. The man raised a gun and officers opened fire, Dennis said. It wasn't clear if he fired, Dennis said, nor was it clear who fired the fatal shot. The man was pronounced dead at the scene, which Dennis described as a rural area of Interstate 71. No officers were injured and a potential motive is still under investigation. Gee, I wonder what the motive could have been. Wow. Oh man, if it's beyond me, guys. I don't know. Earlier, two law enforcement sources told NBC News that a man armed with an AR-15 style rifle got inside the FBI building and fired a nail gun toward personnel before fleeing in a car. So wait, he just fired a couple of shots with a fucking nail gun and left? Dude, At approximately 9:15 EST, the FBI Cincinnati field office had an armed subject attempt to breach the visitor screening facility, VSF, FBI Cincinnati said in a statement. Upon the activation of an alarm and a response by armed FBI special agents, the subject fled northbound onto Interstate 71. Clinton County Emergency Management Agency alerted that Interstate 71 was closed in both directions in the area of the standoff at 1 p.m. The agency issued an update around 5 p.m. saying, law enforcement operations and response has ended. I've literally taken Interstate 71 in Cincinnati, like up and down. That's crazy to me. The fact that it's that close is quite scary. Law enforcement has traded shots with a male suspect who is wearing a gray shirt and body armor, the agency said in an initial statement, warning people nearby to stay inside and lock their doors. Ohio State Highway Patrol said the suspect had fired shots from a Ford Crown Victoria while he was being pursued by police. Brian Murphy, a former official at the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI who's now an executive at the open source intelligence firm Logically, told the Associated Press on Wednesday that his company had observed a large uptick in threats against FBI personnel and facilities on social media platforms since the FBI's search of a former president's Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Interesting content. I can't imagine that this would have happened. There's nothing that would have led to this, guys. Who's to say why this would have happened, right? Wait, if I'm not misunderstanding, the reason why the FBI got permission to raid Mar-a-Lago is because Trump had printed classified documents without permission and was storing them at Mar-a-Lago. That's what I also thought. Who's to say? I don't know. I think that they're going to be declassifying the info soon. It's actually trending right now. A man armed with a rifle who tried to storm the FBI Cincinnati office was killed after. Yeah, so we already know all this. So yeah, I mean, the pro-police, the pro-law enforcement people have turned against the FBI. Interesting stuff. And all because their orange sweaty daddy got fairly checked up on. They did a little checkup on him, right? They were like, well, we just got to see what's going on. And, we're going to open your safe and see what's in there. Like, listen, it's okay. Whatever you got in there, we've seen it all before, man. It's fine. You got some piss porn in there? No worries, man. We'll make sure that stays on the down low. Trump made it law that if you have classified documents, it's a felony. Well, there you go. He also hired the guy who called for this investigation, so that's cool. I want to see some of these comments. A man lost his life. Shit ain't funny. I'm sorry, it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. Who could have predicted that a Trump-loving Jan 6 MAGA terrorist would do this after Trump and the GOP spent the last 3 days fanning the flames of hate against the FBI? Certainly not me. Seems all the civil war and hate rhetoric y'all, Trump and the GOP have been pushing has consequences. Interesting. Trump's turned us into a country of victims who feel violence is their only voice. Well done, MAGA. Republicans and their media machine are responsible for this. Imagine if he was POC. What? I feel like that's irrelevant. This is why Jan 6 rioters need to all be put in prison. True. Very true. Yeah, Trump getting hit with his own law. What is this? Looking over the Truth Social posts of what seems to be the profile of Ricky W. Schiffer. It posted during the attack on the FBI office. Relatively new account, but dozens and dozens of replies obsessed with stolen elections, including Republican primaries in 2022. The big lie perpetuates violence. So this is posts from the shooter. We have inside info on the shooter. Breaking news. When they get away with rigging a U.S. presidential election, along with many congressional elections in plain sight, it's over. Here, we gotta put on a. Here, hold on. There it is. Ugh. This is important. When they get away with rigging a U.S. presidential election along with many congressional elections in plain sight, it's over. Start thinking, bang! Because voting again won't work. Though most patriots turn a willful blind eye to it, the Senate runoff on 1/5/21, the California recall, and the New Jersey governor's election were all fixed. So were some Republican primaries this year. There is not a plan. As for voting out the guys who get away with fixing elections in plain sight, plenty of elections were rigged in 2021, and even Republican primaries are being rigged this year. It doesn't matter if they vote Republican. The ballots brought in, while counting halts, will be for Democrats. People need to stop acting like 2020 was a unique event. Besides the rigged elections of 2021, the Republican primaries were rigged this year in Colorado and Washington. Deciding to count on rigged elections is giving up. Remember how we always said the tree of liberty must be watered. Remember how we always said those who trade freedom for security deserve neither. Remember how we always said it is better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Remember how we always said freedom isn't free. That's right, brother. Now, this is a boy I can get behind. Ripperoni, rest in pepperoni, my man. Hardly knew you. In fact, nobody knew you. You're a loser. Yeah, cool stuff. So, yeah, this guy was a kook, complete idiot. Was at Jan 6th, and he was convinced. He had been convinced, he had been brainwashed by conservative media that the FBI was, like, out to get conservatives, right? Which they're not. But they were just, like, investigating Trump because Trump's an idiot who doesn't know how to hide his shit, right? That's it. But yeah, real cool stuff. We'll probably be seeing more of this, I imagine. This is not the end of this. Republicans are still crying out for more violence, for more unrest, despite the fact that they were so against the BLM riots back in 2020. Nonetheless, I digress, right? Yeah, it should be interesting to see what comes out of this. I don't imagine it will be good, but you know, this is kind of America getting what it deserves, right? Cool stuff.